is our theory part, 19L503 microprocessors and microcontrollers, which we are going to discuss, right? So I think the given 5 chapters where the microcontroller architecture instruction set was the first unit, and the on-chip peripherals and its programming is the second unit. That means, so fundamental architecture and how the instructions are there, which was discussed in the first unit, right? So what are all the microcontroller architecture as discussed? It is a digital programmable device, right? So already we are comfortable with the digital electronics. If the digital electronics is programmable, then we can say it is microprocessor, and adding some more necessary peripherals, it will become microcontroller. And how to make use of those architecture and peripherals through some set of instructions is our first unit. And there are infinite microcontrollers, theoretically speaking, but there are a few microcontrollers in the market, and this is the best way to start with. So 8051 microcontroller is the best way to start with to understand the programmable digital electronics. That is the first unit part. When you talk about the second unit, we talk about on-chip peripherals and programming. Microprocessor can do the computations like arithmetic, logical operations, and it alone cannot do some necessary things. We need program memory. That means we need the program memory to store the instructions, and we need data memory to store the variables. If the user need to interact, then we go for parallel ports and serial ports. And to synchronize parallel ports, serial ports, memory, and the processor, we go for timers. And to schedule the peripherals to coordinate with the processor, we need interrupt controllers. And these are all the 7 mandatory peripherals, which are called as on-chip peripherals. How to make use of those on-chip peripherals and how to program this on-chip peripherals to meet our application requirement is our second unit that we are going to discuss. Okay, so the on-chip means the peripherals within the chip, within the IC, that is microcontroller IC, is our second unit. And off-chip peripherals interfacing and programming is the third unit. That means off-chip peripherals like display. Display means LED. The LED glows, the device is powered on. When the LED is not glowing, the device is powered off, kind of things. And when we come to 7-segment display, so where you can see all the numerical values, right? So all the weighing scales are the good example, and the traffic signals are the good example. And with respect to LCD, alphanumerical display, where you are able to see the coin box was discussed as an example. And keyboard means push to on switch, and how to give the input to the microcontroller. These are all the output matrix keyboard. And there are some analog to digital converters and digital to analog converters. Off-chip peripherals are the external peripherals for a product to make use of it, which is the one cycle, right? So first 3 units is one complete cycle where microcontroller architecture, on-chip programming, the peripherals which is present inside the chip, and peripheral which is present outside the chip is the clarity. So what we did with 8-bit in the first unit, we do the same thing with 32-bit in the 4th and 5th unit. So what is the advantage here? So this is the inaugural function. So the microcontroller was invented, and the first microcontroller is 8051. So we are using 8051. Why we are using 8051? Which is very easy to understand, very comfortable to understand all the peripherals. So this is the most advanced. Currently what microcontroller is using is COM Cortex M architectures are being used, and its corresponding instruction sets will be discussed, which is in the most advanced way today. So today we all have a smart devices. We talk about IoT, we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about deep learning, we talk about machine learning, and we talk about big data, we talk about cloud computing, we talk about a lot of other modern things. For that, the architecture should be intelligent in such a way that it can compute the application requirements. So to satisfy that, the ARM is a company who is manufacturing the processor core, and they are capable of releasing so many microprocessor cores like ARM Cortex A, ARM Cortex R, and ARM Cortex M. And those architecture and those instruction sets we will be discussing in the 4th and 5th unit. Okay, and that is what the summary, and some of the 2 textbooks as well as some of the reference books is being discussed. So in the microprocessor and microcontroller laboratory, we'll be doing some 5 software experiments where all the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. So there is some important thing to concentrate with respect to the lab. Say for example, addition and subtraction. Addition and subtraction is the primary thing which is being done by the ALU, arithmetic logic unit. So where the repeated addition becomes multiplication and repeated subtraction becomes division. That is what your second experiment kind of things that we need to understand. And searching for the given number using search algorithm. Searching is what? Comparing operation, right? So searching means comparing. I'm comparing the 22 with 22, say for example. Whenever the 22 is available in the memory, then we can say the searched number is there in the corresponding memory location kind of things. Okay, so there is a comparison instruction which is there, which helps us to search for the given number which is available in the memory location or what. So everything is binary, whether it can be a text or it can be an audio, it can be a video with respect to the user. But with respect to the microprocessor, it is just a number. What number I have to search, whether the same number is available in the memory location or not. So that is the primary requirement, which is called searching. And sorting in ascending order again, searching, after searching only sorting is possible. You have to search for the number and we have to find out whether it is the greater than or smaller than that. And based on that, we can sort the numbers in ascending order as well as descending order and based on the requirement. We'll be talking about that as a fourth experiment. And all happens in binary, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, searching, sorting, everything happens in a binary where the microprocessor can understand. If user need to understand, we need to go for so many code conversions like binary to BCD, which is primary requirement, and BCD to 7-segment code conversion if you have a 7-segment display, and BCD to ASCII if it is an LCD or if it is a serial data transfer, which we have to look at it in detail, right? With 8-bit processor, if we are doing 16-bit multiplication means, with 32-bit processor, we can able to do 64-bit multiplication kind of thing. So those kind of computational complexity things that we will discuss, and we will do it in the first cycle, which we call it as software experiments. Why it is called as software experiments? Because it doesn't involve any other peripherals interfacing. All depends on the computational complexity. Computational complexity in the sense how best we can make use of the ALU, how best we can look at the algorithm, right? So the things are happening only within the memory. In other words, I can say we are able to give the input from the memory, we are able to get the output in the memory, and we are able to view all the answers only in the memory. It is never coming out to the LED, it is never coming out to the 7-segment display, it is never coming out to the LCD. That we need to understand, right? So all the inputs are given into the memory and the processor reads the data from the memory, it computes and puts back the result into the memory. As a user, we are looking at the data only in the memory, or we are looking at the results only in the memory. Coming to the second cycle experiments, where we will be trained how to use the display. The display is generally it is given, is up to us whether we can go for LED. There are 8 LEDs in that kit, and there are 4 multiplexer 7-segment displays in that kit, and there are LCDs available in the kit. With respect to our interest and involvement, we go for LED interface, we go for 7-segment display, we can go for LCD interface, we can go for all the 3 together. And similarly, interfacing keyboard unit means there are in the bicycle that what you have, in the kit that what you have, we have 4 individual switches as an input, and you have a 4x4 matrix keyboard input, right? So here you can see there are output devices means there are 8 LEDs here, and there are 4 7-segment displays, and there is a provision for LCD. So output input means there are 4 individual switches, and there are 4x4 matrix input. There are 4x4 matrix input which are available, where we can able to give the matrix format, right? We can give the input in the matrix format. So matrix is very important for image processing. Matrix is very important for our touch screen. All works on the matrix principle. And how a microcontroller identifies the key press in the matrix format, that if you know very well means this is how our display screen works. Our high definition HD screen works, our 4K screen works in the case of output devices. This is how our touch screen works in case of our mobile phones. So everything is a matrix. So how matrix works, that can be understood very clearly. And how we do pattern, no? So we do pattern, right? So pattern as a security systems, right, in our mobile phones. So those pattern kind of things can be, we will be discussing about that in detail while discussing about matrix keyboard. So output devices, the way to bring out the data from the microcontroller is through LED or 7-segment or LCD. The way to give in the data to the microcontroller is through push to on switches as well as the matrix keyboard are the 2 kind of things that we need to look at it. So timing requirements is very important. So for display refreshing, 20 millisecond is the timing requirement. For UART, 104 microsecond is the timing requirement. For speech signal sampling, 8000 samples per second, that means 125 microsecond is the timing requirement. So for producing periodic time delay, the timers are most importantly used, and how the time delay is being generated. That is clearly done with the help of this third experiment, hardware experiments. So counter, it counts the number of inputs, right? Count the number of input means there is a wheel speed sensor in a car. Wheel speed sensor gives the number of pulses to the microcontroller. The microcontroller, here it is called as a speedometer based on the number of pulses with respect to the time. It computes the velocity and it displays it in the screen. That's very simple. So the counter is the prime requirement or the principle of our speedometer, odometer, and all counting. Wherever there is a counting applications, counters are most importantly used. So both the timer or counter are counting only the number of pulses. If it is used for producing time delay, then it is called as timer, and it is used for counting the number of pulses means then it is called as counter. So both timer and counters are counters. How to make use of this for our applications, that we'll be discussing in the third experiment. And the whole life is an interrupt, right? Our life is an interrupt, so nothing is predictable. So the flood made Germany to collapse, and flood made a lot of North Indian peoples to collapse. Nothing is unpredictable. Everything is an interrupt. Everything is a disturbance today. And how to handle the interrupts, that's very interesting, right? So hardware interrupts means what we did in our digital electronics, right? The interrupt which happens in the pin. So interrupt which happens in the pin means a pin has only, because it is digital, right? Because it is digital, it is either 1 or it is 0. When it is 1, it is level 1, and when it is 0, it is level 0. So that is called as level triggered interrupts. And there is a possibility for us to transition from 1 to 0, and there is a possible for us to transition from 0 to 1. So there is a 1 to 0 transition and 0 to 1 transition. So that is called as edge triggered interrupt. So there are only 4 possible hardware interrupt in the world, whatever microcontroller that you have taken, right? So hardware means which happens in the pin. The pin can be either logic 1 or pin can be either logic 0, which is called as level triggered interrupt, level 1 and level 0. And there is a possibility for the transition from 1 to 0 in the pin, and there is a possibility for the transition from 0 to 1. So transition from 1 to 0 is called as falling edge, and transition from 0 to 1 is called as rising edge, as you have already studied. So rising edge and falling edge interrupt, level 0 and level 1 interrupts, already in the flip-flops, clocked flip-flop and leveled triggered flip-flops, edge triggered flip-flops you have studied already, the extension of that. So that programmable digital electronics as interrupts. That's very simple. And this is the hardware. Then software interrupt means always by setting the flag. Software means it will set the flag, and through the flag it interrupts the processor. Like, all vectored interrupts and priorities in their functions and lot more things we will be discussing. And finally, we are in a communication engineering department. Yes, there is a universal asynchronous receiver transmitter, which is a serial communication. So how best we communicate with the world, which is only through serial communication. So that is what our question. So we talk about IoT. The integral function of IoT starts from UART. So today we talk about IoT. So that's all about the complete theory as well as the complete lab, which is quite interesting, and we are going to celebrate it as best as possible in this whole semester. This is what our first day inaugural celebration.